never be yourself, or you can never say how you really feel. Until now, yeah. When the sun down, my mind is on the rundown. I be feeling like my happiness is on the come down. But when I speak to you, I feel like it's a touchdown. Finally found me someone I can really trust now. I always have so much to say, but no one to say it to. If I could talk to you today, I know I can make it through. So let's have this conversation like a radio station. So let's have this conversation like a radio station.
It's finally Friday, and it's time for the conversation with Maria Byrd.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. You are listening to The Conversation with Maria Byrd, and I'm super excited about today's show because we have with us a very special guest. He is an innovator, a coach, an author. I like to call him the Transformer. You know, I absolutely love his ministry, and it's truly an honor to have him here with us today. And so, if you would, please help me welcome to the show my very special guest, Dr. Rodney Jackson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's so exciting to be back here again with you, and I'm just excited about what's going to come out of our conversation on today.
Yes, sir. Wow. You know, it's absolutely an honor to have you here with us today. Yes, sir. And so, how are you? How have you been?
I have been doing well. You know, the work that I do, it keeps me busy.
Yes.
It keeps me on the go, but I enjoy it.
Yes, sir.
And I always tell people I have an incredible life. And I am enjoying it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wow. And so, you know, there may be someone that's listening that's going to be exposed to you and your ministry for the very first time. And so, can you just tell the people a little bit about yourself?
Let's see. How do I define myself? I think of myself as a Renaissance man.
Yes, sir.
That enlightenment, and Renaissance is associated with the Enlightenment. So I'm a professor at Beulah Heights University. I'm chair leadership in the business department and the associate dean of extension. So I'm in the classroom. I'm a teacher. I'm an avid CrossFit person. So I'm many things and not just one thing.
Yes, sir.
So it's not one thing that can define who I am.
Yes. And so it's definitely an honor just to have you back right here in the conversation, Maria Byrd. You know, again, you are an awesome man of God, a true kingdom example. And again, you are the transformer. You like to help others transform so they can live their best lives. And, you know, one of the things that I absolutely love about you is that I follow you on social media. Yes, I follow you on social media. And, you know, I see that you've been doing something that's absolutely amazing. Not only do you minister regarding that topic of transformation, but you also post transformative thoughts of the day.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Absolutely amazing. And so I thought it would be great if during this show we can just dive into some of those transformative thoughts.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. And so let's get started. And so one of your transformative thoughts that you have posted on social media is you are being authentic when you are consistent in living out your truth for your life.
Yes, that's a real big idea and thought that I was thinking and reflecting upon that. And you know, this thing about being authentic.
Yes.
Being proud of who you are and not conforming to the crowd. So it's about, you know, defining for yourself what's going to be your truth that define your life. And that's one of the things I try to accomplish on my Facebook post, is to live my life out loud and to be authentic, because I want people to know this is who I am. I'm not trying to conform to the crowd. You know, I'm in the ministry, you know, have been, you know, in the ministry for the past 28 years, transitioning now and becoming a pastor emeritus. But I'm not trying to be someone else. I'm not trying to copy some other pastor or be like, I'm
That's
trying
good.
to be my authentic self.
Whew.
And that's more comfortable.
Right.
It's more comfortable and it's more liberating when
That's right.
you are proud of who you are and what God have done in your life
Yes.
and the uniqueness that God have given you.
Ooh, and you said something I thought was really great. Living your life out loud.
Oh yes,
Yes, because
yes.
oftentimes when we are, trying to copy other individuals, really what we're doing is we're shrinking back.
Yep.
But what I hear you saying, in order to be authentic and our true selves, we have to be our true selves and live our lives out loud.
Exactly. I'm unapologetically who I am.
That's-
And
Come on.
it is my responsibility that God have given me to give myself permission to be successful. To do what he have called me to do.
Yes.
So that's one of the things is that I want to live my life out loud. And everything you see on Facebook
Come on.
and social media, that's who I am. And I'm consistently being that person.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. We have to be consistent in being our true authentic selves, because oftentimes the enemy, the adversary, the devil will try to cause us to operate in lack of confidence,
Exactly.
low self-esteem.
Yep, exactly. And in psychology, we talk about self-efficacy, having the belief in yourself and the confidence in yourself that you are more than enough. That
Ooh.
what you have inside of you is everything you need to thrive in life.
Come
But
on.
we got to take that inner journey to discover that. So that's one of the things that I have taken ownership
Yes.
in my life. And to me, that's what transformation is all about.
Right.
It's becoming who God have called you to be and pushing past the limits that have been placed on your life or you have allowed people to put on your life.
Yes.
So, that's what it's all about.
Come on. And that's so good. Can we talk about that a little bit more? Those limits that
Yeah.
people would try to place on your life.
Exactly. And to me, one of the things I say in transformation, the first step to me is exploration. Because you got to go back and find out, when did you start conforming? When did you start buying into what the world has been saying about you, or your circle of influence have been saying about you? When did you start accepting that for your life? And going back to authenticity,
Yes.
is what's going to be your truth that you live your life by?
Whew.
And being mature enough and responsible enough to make that decision for yourself. Most people have accepted what everybody else have said about them. So
Talk about it. Yes.
so that's and that's the thing, is that really exploring and looking at your history, because I heard it said that if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it again.
Wow.
So is taking ownership to begin to investigate, okay, how did I become the way that I am at this point in my life? And that starts with the courage of exploration. I want to explore and see what's in my philosophy belongs to me and what belongs to everybody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's right.
Yes.
Exploration. I love that. I love that. Wow. We already off to an amazing start. Let me ask you about this particular transformative thought. The growth process involves learning, unlearning, and relearning.
Exactly. Exactly. Because you think about it, in life, we learn a lot of stuff consciously and unconsciously, but I want to focus on what we learn unconsciously, because it's more than what we learn consciously.
Woo.
Because when you think about it, I was reading, it was saying that 95% of who we are habits and patterns and beliefs that we don't even know that are there. So think about it. So 95% of
Wow.
how we respond, how we behave, is being driven by patterns and habits or beliefs and ideas that we don't know that's driving us. Now, the 5% of your brain that's plugged into reality right now is working against this 95%.
Whew.
So is it any wonder why change don't take place?
Wow.
Because we just simply living life by habits, and having the right habits is the key. But when you don't know what habits are driving you, you just reacting to life. It's impossible for you to be proactive and intentional and really live the type of life that you know that you deserve to live.
Yes. Wow. And even when I think about, something very simple, just regarding waking up on time.
Exactly.
But it's all related to those habits.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Are we staying up late?
Exactly.
Are we eating after midnight? Why can't we get up on time?
Yeah. And see, if you're not careful, life can become, you can fall into patterns. This is what I have always done, and this is just the way it is. But you're buying into the limits that you're putting on your life, and the thing of it is that you can never begin to expand unless you begin to address these patterns and these beliefs and these ideas that you accepted unconsciously.
Wow. Wow. Can you just talk about that a little bit more? Like, as far as accepting those things unconsciously.
Exactly. Well, we're all born into a family, and that family shapes our emotional process. It shapes what we value, what we don't value, what we will do, what we will not do. So, and I'm not saying that everything is wrong with that, but I think that at some point we do have to begin to sit down and go back and take that journey back and see, well, what is it that I learned from my family that's helping me now?
Wow.
Or what is it that I learned that's not helping me? It's even when you talk about finances, talk about,
Come on,
in the family sometimes, either you got enough or you don't, but you definitely don't ask anyone.
Right.
Or you don't talk about. But I remember reading a book by Susan Orman, and she was talking about that, how in her family, she saw her father, the house caught on fire, and she saw her father run back in the house to grab the safe, and the safe was burning, and he grabbed it and he brought it outside, and from that he caught pneumonia. So that triggered in her a thought about personal finance.
Wow.
And how she was living her life based upon that thought. And so the whole idea, she was saying that you got to go back and discover, well, when did you start thinking negative about money? When did you start get this idea about how you're treating your finances now? So you have to go back. You have to go back. When did this all start for you? And for me, and what I found out, it starts with the family. It's not so much about what's right or wrong, but it's about you becoming conscious. And again, I want to use that word conscious, as opposed to unconscious of how it's driving you. And I'm talking about in every area of life. Relationship, how you show up in relationship can be traced back to those major family relationships that you had.
Yes. Wow. This is absolutely amazing. And I love how you are just drawing, just this connection between that conscious and the unconscious.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Ooh, can you just talk about that? The conscious and the unconscious.
Yeah, see, the conscious is when you are aware. You are aware. For instance, we're in this room right now. We're on this broadcast.
Yes.
We are conscious, aware of this moment.
Yes.
But in this moment, we are not aware of how the unconscious might be driving how we're showing up.
Wow.
How the things that have happened to us on our life journey might be shaping and controlling our fear of just opening up and just living out loud in this moment.
Wow.
And and that's where we start judging ourselves.
When
we start judging ourselves,
come on, doctor.
It unconsciously it impacts us conscious, and we don't give as much in that moment. So it's for me, it's all about self-discovery.
Yes.
And that's what exploration is discovering. Okay, who am I and who do I want to become?
That's good.
And you know, and what is it about who I am that's hindering of helping me become who I want to become?
And you know, this reminds me of a quote from my pastor, Pastor Stephanie Jennings. She has a quote that says, "Every moment counts."
Exactly.
And see, for me, that's all about that consciousness, being conscious in the moment. Every moment counts.
And see, the thing of it is about the brain is that, and I say brain mind, you know, because the brain is the physical organ that create the activity for what we call the mind. So one thing about the brain is that, and the mind, it never forget, is the plasticity. And that term plasticity means that every moment impacts the brain. And the brain mind does not forget it. So, you know, so living in the now, being conscious of the moment, that this is all you have right now. So how do you maximize this moment?
Yes. We have to maximize the moment. And so, you guys. And so, yes. And so I wanted to ask you about this transformative thought. After preparation, it is time to take action.
Oh yes. Oh yes. It is.
Yes.
You know, you got to apply. You got to implement the action. And the thing is, you know, it's like knowledge. You know, you get knowledge to understand it. You know, you need knowledge to transform your life. But after you get the understanding, you got to take action. You got to get in the arena. And you got to live it out.
Yes.
Because knowledge, and I tell my students all the time in the classroom, we can create any scenario in this classroom because this is a laboratory. We controlling everything. We controlling the case study. We controlling what we're talking about. But it only works in this classroom. You won't know that it'll work outside of this classroom unless you start taking it and using it in your life.
Yes.
You know, it's just like learning. Learning is about repetition, but you got to start using it in your life.
That's good.
You got to start taking the concepts and the ideas and using it. And that's what I call the second step in transformation is expanding. And expanding simply means you got to get new mental content to define your new reality. You can't use the old stuff, but you got to have a paradigm shift. So you got to get new mental content, concepts, stories, ideas, skills, and theories that help you begin to look at the world differently, because you don't really see with your eyes.
Come on.
Let me say that again. You don't see with your eyes. You see with your mind. And so the ideas and the stories and the theories and the skills that you have in your mind will define what you see out here.
Yes. Wow. And you know, this reminds me of, you know, something that my apostle has been teaching about regarding content and context.
Yeah.
The content, the substance that's within us, but the context, the vessel, in the manner in which we display that content. You know, it's like you was talking about the mind versus the brain.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's essential, like you said, for us to not only work on that content, but work on that context, how we facilitate that substance within our lives.
Yeah, and I just believe God created us to define the context, to change the context.
That's right.
But it for me, and what I have discovered in my life journey, is that it starts with changing the way that I think. You know, you can transform your life if you simply change the way that you think. And I tell people, even though it sounds simplistic and it's simple, but it would be the hardest thing that you ever do in life.
Wow.
Because you got to unpack a whole lot of baggage. You got to realize that you got to now take responsibility for self. And that you got to step out of being the victim or victimization and become not only a survivor but an overcomer. And I think that that's the purpose of going to church. That's the purpose of hearing the word consistently, and that's the purpose of reading, and to continually keep expanding your mind. And we have to understand the brain is a muscle.
Come on.
And if you don't work it, you don't exercise it, it will not get stronger. So that's been one of the things that I'm continually expanding, continually introducing myself to new ways of thinking. And with the rate that knowledge is doubling, it's doubling every 13 months. So what I knew 13 months ago is outdated today. So you don't have a choice about continuing education.
Yes. We have to make sure that we continue to be not conformed to this world,
but be ye transformed.
Woo!
How? By the renewing, and that word renewing is the Greek word for by the reconstruction of your mind.
Come on.
So you gotta continue to be tearing down, learning, unlearning, and relearning.
Yes.
So it's a continual process. It's a continual process.
Yes.
It's a renovation that's going on in my mind.
That's right.
Every year I'm building a new structure. I'm tearing down the old and renovating it.
Yes.
And creating something new. And the thing about renovation, it's going to get dusty and be a little chaos.
Whew.
But trust and be assured that this new structure that's coming up,
come on,
it's going to be something tremendous and extraordinary.
Woo, yes. That's right. And so, okay, let me ask you about this. Because you said something. You said nothing in your life will change if you do not change the way you see your present reality.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. And so, let me ask you about this one. It's not just about becoming the best.
Exactly.
It's about developing the capability to sustain being the best.
Exactly. As I teach a class at Beulah Heights, and it's called strategic management. And in strategic management, I tell them that strategic management is simply how do you gain and sustain the competitive edge. See, getting there is not the challenge, but it's sustaining. It's being able to stay there. And when you look at sports and you look at guys who have made it to the top and who have mastered their craft, one of the things you see that stands out to me is the sustainability. And see, that's what people don't realize, is that once you get to the top, how do you sustain that level of excellence and that level of performance that it took for you to get there?
Yes.
So it's about, it's not about just being the best. I don't want to be the best, but I want to be consistent. I want to be consistently, you see improvement in my life every day, every year. So that is about sustaining. And to me, and that's what transformation is. It's not just change. It's not incremental change, which is small change, but it is sustainable change. That's lifelong.
That's right.
That you're not going back, but it's something that you are maintaining consistently. So, and that's what I was trying to get at with that quote, that it's not, because many people strive, I just want to be the best. Well, what does that look like? Because every day you're gonna have somebody coming up that's doing it different. But what I want to be one that able to sustain my level of excellence continually.
Yes, because see, this reminds me of like diets, for example. People go on diets and they say, I'm gonna be dieting from carbohydrates, I'm gonna diet from sweets. But really, that's not the solution.
Yeah, that's not. When you think about, most people wait till they have to change.
Talk about it.
You go to the doctor and he tell you that your blood pressure, your sugar level is high. Now you're in a crisis, and so most of the changes that's gonna happen there is reactionary. And and that's the reason they say that most people that have a heart attack or go to the hospital and get admitted to the emergency room, and the doctor saved them, and they give them a regimen that they need to follow in order to improve, then most people are not going to do it, because of the simple fact is that they are not going to embrace the new lifestyle that they must live in order to continually be healthy moving forward.
Yes. Wow.
So they'll make the incremental change. Okay, I'm going to eat this diet. I'm going to do this. The doctor told me. And as soon as they get out the woods with the heart attack, they're going to revert back. And see, that's the thing about change and transformation. And I tell people all the time that although transformation involves change, but not all change involves transformation. Because transformation means that you literally become a whole new being, a whole new creation from a spiritual perspective. So there is no relapse. You take on a new philosophy, a new belief about life. And so now going back to what you used to be is no longer an option.
Woo.
It's like the Spanish explorer Cortez says, burn the ship.
Come on.
He led some soldiers down to Mexico, Aztecs, and they had to go in and take over, but they had to go through some woods, and they knew that nobody survived the woods.
Yes.
So because they had the enemy was in there, and they would kill them with arrows.
Come on, Doc.
So when they landed there, and he heard his men complaining, so you know what he did? He burned the ships.
Woo.
So they had no other choice. If they were going to survive, they were going to have to go through the woods, and they were going to have to fight.
Woo. My God.
So you got to burn the ships.
Yes.
I have no options to go back to what I used to be. I have no options or choice of not to get up and go work out or take care of myself, because that I burned the ship on that.
Yes.
I burned the way back to that old way of life.
Yes.
And the only way I got to go now is forward.
Come on. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We can't go back. There's nothing to go back to.
Yeah. So I mean, it's about the trade-off. In economics, we talk about that opportunity cost. But before you get to the opportunity cost, what am I giving up right now, or what am I doing right now that's going to cost me in the future? But with every choice, every decision, there is a trade-off.
Come on.
And I traded off being unhealthy to being healthy.
To being healthy, yes.
And the trade-off, I know what's going to cost me. I got to live a disciplined life. I got to get up and go do these things. It is not an option. And I got to put myself in a surrounding and an environment that I can be supported in the transformation that I'm trying to make. And that's the reason I love my CrossFit community.
Yes.
They hold me accountable. When I don't show up, you can rest assured I'm going to get a post or a call saying, where you at?
Ooh, yes. Yes.
So it's a trade, so I'm willing to make the trade-off, the trade-off, the sweets for eating healthy.
Come on, fruit.
Yeah, so I don't want to look, I think that there's a science to aging. You can look good while you're aging.
Come on, yes. We can look good while we're aging. That's right, you guys. Come on.
You don't have to look your age,
You don't have to look your age. If you look your age, you need to work on sustainability. That's right. It's not about the small changes, but it's about the lifelong commitment. Wow, you guys. Well, listen. We're getting ready to take a quick commercial break, but don't go anywhere. I want you to keep it locked right here. You are listening to The Conversation with Maria Byrd.
Thank you for tuning in to The Conversation with Maria Byrd.
So let's have this conversation
On WIGO 1570 AM radio. You can connect with Maria Byrd here Fridays on The Conversation at 11 a.m. Go to www.mariabyrd.org. You can sign up for her newsletter. Check out the latest from the conversation. You can be the next guest, have your song featured, or donate to the cause. Learn about marketing opportunities. Check out the giveaways, special promotions, free tickets, and the latest from Maria Byrd Publications. Again, log on to www.mariabyrd.org. That's www.maria.org.
WIGO 1570 AM Radio.
We've been running long enough with this reproach that has been attached to us. We've forgotten the way of the Lord. We don't fear Him like we once did before. But God is calling us to another place. He has summoned us. It's time to consecrate. But we don't hear Him. We don't fear Him. And we miss Him because we won't deny our flesh. It's time for consecration. Consecration. It's time for consecration. Consecration. It's time for consecration. Consecration. We're going in for. We've been running long enough with this reproach that has been attached to us. We've forgotten the way of the Lord. We don't fear Him like we once did before. But God is calling us to another place. He has summoned us. It's time to consecrate. But we don't hear Him. We don't fear Him. And we miss Him because we won't deny our flesh. It's time for consecration. Hear ye the word of the Lord. He wants your heart. Yeah. It's time for consecration. Hear ye the word of the Lord. We're going in home this time. You've given us the city, Lord. We hear your instructions, Lord. And we want to be holy, pleasing, and acceptable. This is our reasonable service to you, oh Lord. We're going in clear. We're going in right. No more reproach on me. I want to offer a soul with no reproach. No more shame. My past has been erased, and now I'm free indeed. I am whole. Consecration. Hear ye the word of the Lord. Consecration. This is your warning. It's time for consecration.
Thank you for tuning in to The Conversation with Maria Byrd
So let's have this conversation.
on WIGO 1570 AM Radio.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back. You are listening to The Conversation with Maria Byrd. You just heard a powerful song, Consecration by Jonathan Rice. And guess what, you guys? It is available for purchase right now on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon Music. And again, I want to reach out to all of those that are listening via the radio. I want you guys to be sure to connect with me. Go to my website, www.mariabyrd.org. Let me know that you listen to this show on the radio and how it has been a tremendous blessing to your life. You guys be sure to follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook at Maria Byrd, on Instagram at maria.byrd. You can also follow me on the Conversation with Maria Byrd Facebook page, or go to my website, www.mariabyrd.org. Last but certainly not least, I want you to be sure to make a financial contribution. If you're able, go to Cash App $Maria Byrd, or you can go to my website at www.mariabyrd.org and click the donation button. Not only that, you guys, but listen, I've recently updated my YouTube channel, and so go on there to YouTube and be sure to subscribe. It is The Conversation with Maria Byrd. Well, you guys, we are back with my very special guest, none other than Dr. Rodney Jackson. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Jackson.
It's good to be here, enjoying myself. And please donate to this great woman of God and the work that she's doing. If this is adding value to your life, don't cheat and not give toward it, because it's definitely adding value to your life.
Wow. Thank you so much. That's truly an honor, Dr. Jackson. It's an honor to have you back with us here on the show. And before the break, Dr. Jackson, you were just breaking it down, letting us know that it's not just about becoming the best, but it's about developing the capability to sustain being the best. And so another transformative thought that you posted that I absolutely love, you said every day you must give yourself the permission to be uncommon.
That's right. Every day you have to give yourself the permission, and that's one of the things that I learned in my life, that I'm giving myself the permission to be uncommon. I'm not looking to be a copycat. I'm just looking to be who God created me to be.
Yes.
And I know that in doing that, there is an audience out there that's looking for someone like me.
Yes.
So and when you are yourself, and when you really enjoy who you are, you can be open to appreciate someone else's uniqueness. And not be jealous and not be in competition, because the only person I'm competing against is myself.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's the reason I'm the gladiator.
Yes. And I love this because it reminds me of a scripture that said, out of our bellies shall flow rivers of living water. There's somebody that is called to drink from that living water that's flowing out of us.
Exactly.
Come on.
And it only happens when you give yourself permission.
Talk about that.
To be the permission that I want to be uncommon. So I'm not trying to follow the crowd. I'm not trying to be like the crowd.
That's good.
I'm not trying to conform, but I'm always in the process of becoming. So it's nothing common about me.
Woo.
And I think when we look at our Lord and Savior, it was nothing common about him.
Come on.
When you were in his presence and we read the accounts of his life and people that was in his presence, they did not leave the same. They did not leave the same way that they came. So that's my role model.
Yes.
I'm not trying to, you look at his ministry, you didn't see his ministry around the synagogue or the temple. But his ministry was out there in the hedges and highways.
Yes.
So he had an uncommon approach to what it meant to serve his Father.
That's right.
So, and I think that's what we have to do. We have to find what's our journey, what's going to be our legacy. And how it's going to call us out from being common to becoming uncommon.
Yes, I think that's so significant because, on one of the things that my apostle Travis Jennings, he talks about how, some of the enemies of us accomplishing our destiny and purpose is comparison and competition.
Yeah. And all of those things, comparison, competition, those are self-inflicted things. We make the choice to compare ourselves to someone, and I've seen it so many times among pastors that pastors make the choice to compare their ministry to somebody else's ministry, or I should be at this point in my ministry, but that's not your journey. That's not what God has for you. And you have to be courageous enough and secure enough to accept what God has for you, and to know that is especially for you.
Yes.
So that's the reason you have to give yourself permission.
Come on.
It starts with you.
Yes.
I give myself permission to be great today. I give myself permission to be uncommon. I give myself permission to thrive and to be who I am. I give myself permission to love myself.
Yes.
So I'm taking responsibility for that. So I don't have to be codependent in a relationship, dependent on somebody to love me. And that's not their responsibility, because it starts with love yourself. Love God, then love your neighbor as yourself. Well, I can't love you if I don't love myself. So I give myself permission to love me with all of the stuff in my life.
Wow.
I still love me.
That's right. I am so convinced, Dr. Jackson, that oftentimes the warfare, the different things that we encounter, it has everything to do with the way that we see it, our filters, our perspective. And a lot of times that's controlled by, again, our experiences.
Yeah.
And it leads back to confidence and self-esteem. I'm so sure about that thing.
Yeah, it's and that's the whole thing about self-efficacy, is the belief in yourself that you are more tan enough. And as it says in Corinthians, the 10th chapter and the 4th verse, it says, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they're mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. Well, where are the strongholds? The strongholds are in our minds. They are experiencing unresolved issues and unresolved trauma situations in our lives. And these, the thing of it is, I say the brain don't forget unless you help the brain forget.
That's right.
And one way to eradicate an old thought or old neural pathway is new information that's more powerful than the old. So you
yes.
So you got to constantly introduce your mind to a new way of thinking about every area of life.
That's
because
right.
We have to be willing to grow in every area. We have to be willing to grow relationally. We have to be willing to grow.
That's good.
And relational is social. It's sociological. You have to be willing to grow in your relationship, and you have to be willing to grow psychologically and emotionally, and definitely grow spiritually.
Yes.
I see some pastors sometimes. They preaching a text out of tradition that they learned somewhere back in Sunday school. And we live in a new reality with technology, Facebook, social media, and you're talking about people can sit up in church and Google you now. So so they Googling you all while you get up there talking that old, so how does the message of the gospel work in this new context, this new reality?
Yes.
And I call it, that's the dance of life.
Yeah.
That's the dance of life. How do you make it make sense? But if you are constantly expanding your mind, and I think Oliver Wendell Holmes said this, a man's mind that's been stretched to a new dimension cannot go back to his old way. So,
wow.
How can you, be stretched and go back to the old way of doing things.
Come on.
So it's all about being able to break paradigms.
Yes.
They were made to be broken.
Woo, yes. They were made to be broken. Let me ask you this, Dr. Jackson. Gladiators are willing to put in the work to be extraordinary.
Exactly. And that's the reason a lot of time on my social media I am a gladiator, because that's my philosophy of my life. I think everybody needs to have a philosophy for life. And that image of the gladiator going into the arena and having to trust in his ability to be able to survive and come out of that victorious. So every day I'm approaching it like a gladiator, that I got to kill it in the arena of life.
Yes.
I got to be the victor. I got to walk out of the arena with my head hanging high, up high, and that I know that I have given it my best. And that's the thing. I'm fascinated by gladiators, because they had to train, they had to prepare,
That's right.
and they had to put in the work. And that's a lot with transformation. You got to put in the work. You got to be willing to put in the work, and you got to fall in love with the grind. You got to fall in love with all of the things that it's going to take to make you great, like what you're doing here. See, you putting in the work. See, like my president at Dr. Karanja said in his plaque, he said, I know what I'm doing right now is building a bridge to somewhere that I don't know.
Oh, yes. I love that.
Yeah,
Wow.
So what you're doing right now, what I'm doing right now is building a bridge to somewhere that I don't know yet.
Wow.
But I know that it's in this moment, it's right now, that I got to be willing to put in the work.
That's right.
Yeah, you got to put in the work.
That's right. I saw something on your wall, and it said, I stay in a place of preparation.
Yes, exactly. It's just, that whole idea of the butterfly, the caterpillar becoming the butterfly.
Yes.
The caterpillar cannot come out of that cocoon, that place of preparation, until the work has been completed. So so it's always knowing that I can become better. I can do this better. So it's embracing the idea of preparation, and that's what a gladiator have to do. He have to continually keep preparing, because you don't know the challenges of the next battle in the arena. So you can't rest on your laurels. You can't rest on what you did last year, because this year has its own challenge. Today has its own challenges. So that's staying in that place of preparation, so I can be ready to enter into the arena of life and kill it once again.
Yes. Oh, let me ask you this, Dr. Jackson, regarding this particular transformative thought. When you embrace your process, your focus will become clear.
Oh, yes, exactly. When you embrace your process.
Wow.
I've been an educator for the last 30 years, and one of the things I fell in love with was this idea of learning. And so when I embraced that process of learning, of going to school and achieving the level of education that I have achieved, it became very clear to me that who I am and what I was called to do. I look at the classroom, it's my universe, it's my arena.
Yes.
And it's where I can create and I can empower people to learn. I just, my clarity is that I believe I can teach anyone anything. Put any book in front of me, I can teach it. If it's biochemistry or physics, put it in front of me, because I embrace the process of learning. I embrace the process of what it means to learn and to prepare and to study and to how to read and how to think critical. So now it's very clear to me what I was called to do.
Yes.
So when you embrace that process and stop fighting against it, everything else become clear.
Yes.
Everything else become clear. I just think back when I embraced it, and I was pastoring with my brother. while everybody else was going out, I had to go home and study.
Yes.
I start complaining, God, because I embraced the process. And now look where I am.
Yes. Yes.
So,
wow.
And I get joy out of, seeing my students' lives transform because of how God is using me in the classroom to be a transformer, a major player in their life journey. So.
Wow. That's right. Because when we embrace the process, then our focus will become clear. Let me ask you about this last one. You posted, it becomes possible when you believe.
Oh yes, it becomes possible when you believe. And I sort of drew that from Nelson Mandela, and he said that everybody think that it's impossible until somebody do it. So I think a lot about his life and how, and to me he's like my hero of transformation.
Yes.
Because how can a man go to jail and stay in there over 27 years, and the very people that imprisoned him were the very people that he came out and forgave.
Ooh.
So him saying that, and I was thinking about that. I said, it seems impossible, but when you really change the way you think, it becomes possible. So I don't allow anyone to tell me what I can't do.
That's right.
I refuse to accept. Because if I allow you to have that permission with my mind, which is, outside of my spirit, which is the most valuable thing to me,
yes, then
you are controlling me. I don't have to be in prison. You can put me in prison because you controlling my mind.
Come on.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the thing that, when you really, there is no limits in God. And we know the scripture, now unto him that is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we ask or think, according to the power that is at work in you. So it's about, I'm a gladiator in the faith. I challenge the paradigm. I see the limits, but I don't want to allow it to shape how I think.
That's right. Wow, that's right. I love that. We can see, there are different, like you said, there are things that would try to hold us back. There are things that would try to stop us. But like the scripture said, the weapon may form, but it won't prosper.
Yeah. And the thing of it is that all the enemy, the devil, or however we want to formulate it, has is, it uses our sensory perception.
That's right.
The sensory that we use, the senses that we use, what we see, what we hear, what we touch, what we taste, what we,
yes, what we smell.
That, and we have to understand that all our sensory perceptions do is just transmit the information to our brain. For instance, what I'm looking at the lights, and it's just transmitting the information. Now, where faith come in is that what I'm looking at, this is where I'm going to be in the future. A big studio. This is so I determine how I think about it, my perspective, and I think that's the greatest thing with leaders is that leaders bring a different perspective to every situation, and that's how we inspire people to believe beyond where they are. Moses and the leading the children of Israel through the promised land, Moses had a different perspective about the journey. The children of Israel had a different perspective. The spies that went over, they brought back a different perspective about the promised land that God gave them. They say, we are nothing but grasshoppers in our own eyes. But Joshua and Caleb said, look, if we go now, we can take the land.
Yes.
And then you read in the next chapter, 14th chapter, when the children of Israel on the journey, and Caleb come to the mountain that he saw when he went out, previous.
Yes.
And he started to tell Joshua, give me this mountain. And he tell Joshua, he said, and I like Caleb conversation, the same way I felt then, I'm feeling it today.
Woo, yes.
So it's the perspective that we bring, and have. And I look at Caleb in age, it was the perspective, he still felt young.
Whew.
So it's the perspective and that we have about life and how we see things. And I just come to understand that I don't see with my eyes, I see with my mind.
Yes.
So that's the reason I'm always putting new mental content so that I can see beyond where I am right now. And I think that when you look at the lives of those who have done something great, you look at that in their inner life, they had to change the way that they were thinking.
Yes. Come on. Yes, Dr. Jackson. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed
by the renewing, by the reconstruction, the continual reconstruction of the way that you think.
Yes.
That's what renewing. It comes from a Greek word anakenosis, which simply means a reconstruction of the very way that you think.
Yes, we have to have renewed minds. OMG, this has been absolutely amazing. Dr. Jackson, how can the people connect with you?
Well, they can connect with me on Facebook, all of my contact information. They can just send me a message in my inbox, and I will respond. And I'm just interested only in people that are serious about making a transformation in their lives.
Yes.
So that's how they can contact me, and also they can contact me at Beulah Heights University. You can go to Beulah.edu, and you can see my email address, and also transformingyourmind@gmail.com is how they can reach me and get in touch with me if they really are serious about doing some serious work in changing their lives.
Yes. Wow. OMG. This has been absolutely amazing. I want to take the time to thank my very special guest, the Transformer, Dr. Rodney Jackson. Will you come back?
I sure will. And let me just say this on behalf of Beulah Heights, and since I'm chair, that we're getting ready to start registration for our fall semester in November. So those of you that's looking to get a continual education, we have many programs from a Bachelor of Arts in Religious Studies, Social Arts, and Bachelor in Leadership, Business, Associate in those two areas, all the way up to a PhD in Leadership and a Doctor of Divinity degree. So we want to invite you, if you're in the ministry or you just want to just in life or leadership, come to Beulah Heights, come over, see some of the programs, and I'll be glad to help you put a plan of action and where you want to be through education.
Yes, amazing. Be sure you guys to connect with my special guest, Dr. Rodney Jackson, the Transformer himself, you guys. Yes, you guys. Well, listen. I want you to make sure that you tune in next week, because we have something absolutely amazing prepared for you. So you guys, remember, that's next week, same time, same place, right here on The Conversation with Maria Byrd.
Thank you for tuning in to The Conversation with Maria Byrd every Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. on WIGO 1570 AM radio.
So let's have this conversation like a radio station.
WIGO AM 1570, Morrow, Atlanta.
You guys, again, I want to thank my very special guest, Dr. Rodney Jackson. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and I take anytime you call.
Yes, sir.
I will answer.
Wow, absolutely amazing, you guys. Make sure you tune in next week to the next edition of The Conversation with Maria Byrd.